Good morning, everyone. Hi, good morning, Stan. Good morning, Pierre. Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning. Starting a couple of minutes early as you're ready here, but we'll wait. Hi, good morning, Pierre. We'll wait to get into it until after.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
I think you need 120 DOT to bond. Is that correct?
No. You only.
I thought I saw that somewhere. That's all.
No. You can do it. You can do it actually on the Polkadot wallet for a minimum of 10 DOT.
Okay.
But you can do it also on Kraken and Binance. I don't think there's any limit like that, if I remember. Okay. Definitely, otherwise it would be just restricted to a few people. That 120 dots is quite a lot of money right now.
That's what I thought.
That was about 6,000. Would be about $6,000.
Yeah, or more like 8,000 Australian.
Yeah, you're right. No, you can do it with only a few, and it's good to do it as well while you stick down.
So, can we talk about that a little bit today?
Yes, I'll be if you want. Yes, I can do it. I've already covered it last couple of times. I can do it a little bit more.
Yep.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. We're just waiting for. I just opened the room a few minutes earlier, as there were some people already in the waiting room. So you're having kind of like a preview of the crypto hour at the moment. We start in earnest in a few minutes when. After the allotted time. Okay. Been a busy morning this morning already. I was on the event with Mark in Australia earlier on. So it started at kind of like 4 o'clock my time. Hi, good morning, Beck. Nice to see you again. And hi, Archie. And so I started earlier this morning. Actually, I was on the screens at about quarter to 4 my time, AM. And I still got a few calls to make this morning as well. Let's see if Duncan will be here as well soon, so I can transfer the co-host to him. He can look after the people that come on the call. Because being a man, I'm not very good at doing 2 things or 3 things at once. Okay, as you can imagine. And when I'm talking, I get quite engrossed, and then I miss people that want to come into the room. Oh, there's Duncan. Where is it? His ears must have been burning. Duncan, we thought that your ears were burning. We're talking about you. Okay, can you hear me, Duncan?
I can hear you.
Yeah, we were saying that your ears must have been burning. We were talking about you.
Well, really? That's nice to hear.
So, I've made you co-host now. I think, yeah, co-host.
Cool. Yep.
Okay.
Got it.
So
send me the link.
Ready to go. I've already done on Facebook, so you got on Messenger. You got the link.
I wonder if everybody noticed that I did it again this week and jumped onto Facebook and said crypto hour starting in 5 minutes, and it wasn't. It was an hour later, wasn't it? Because, but I noticed my error quite quickly. So hopefully that's nobody's been waiting for an hour like me.
And I think by the end of the winter we'll get used to the daylight saving time. I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't bank on that with me. 6 months is absolutely not enough to learn.
I got very confused myself as these days. I'm dealing more with people from all over the world than I am with people from the UK. So every time I make an appointment, I say, what time did I say it was? What time it really is? who am I?
I know, but
And all this kind of
I keep boasting that I'm in my 10,000th hour of the job, so I must be getting good at it. And now I'm admitting that, you know, 6 months isn't enough to learn, maybe 3 years isn't enough for me. Guys, I'm just going to interrupt the flow for a second and say that if you were on the call last week, I did make grand promises about emailing you on Luca's behalf on Monday with our latest stuff. But unfortunately, I had a few days off sick this week. So that's my excuse. In the meantime, it's probably good because Luca and I have had a think and we've got something even better for you. So after this call, we're going to have a meeting. And then I promise you on Monday, I will be ending the suspense. There we go.
Okay, shall we get started then? Yeah, just past 8 o'clock. So there's still people coming in, but Duncan, if you can take over, just letting people in the room, then I'll start chatting. Okay, so first of all, I will start the call today with a word of warning. Okay, because we talk about news and we talk about things that are happening in the crypto world. But you know what's happening right now is that you know, you'll see in November and December, you'd see crypto go absolutely crazy. Okay, and the adoption of cryptocurrencies has been the fastest adoption rate of any technology in history. Okay, this is before 2021, so I'm not talking about something that's happening right now. And I don't know what's happening to Jaya, but I'm seeing a lot going on in front of your camera, Jaya. So it's a little bit distracting. So let me just change the thing so I don't get distracted anymore. Okay, what I was saying is that the adoption rate, even before 2021, was about double the adoption rate of the internet. Okay, which at the time was the fastest adoption rate of any technology in history. But what's happened this year is that in 2021, we have a growth in the number of users, which was running at about 200% a year. We saw the growth balloon out into more than 900%, and we haven't even got to the year end yet. So we have come to to crypto being on the forefront of everybody's attention a lot earlier than everybody, even everybody that was involved in crypto, was thinking at the beginning of the year. And the result is that we're not quite there as a finished product yet. And a lot of people are coming into this world and are starting to interact with crypto, not really understanding very well, what it is and how to interact with it. But what's happening is that the social media really has got fully on board. So we're seeing any of you, if you have a Facebook account, if you have any social media whatsoever, you would have seen now more and more posts coming from your friends talking about crypto, talking about, look, I made lots of money with this. I bought Shiba and I made whatever $10,000 or whatever it is that they've done. Okay, and so because we are social animals, we tend to take a clue, not so much from what we do, but from what other people do. And so as everybody is getting interested, and we think, oh, we should get involved as well because everybody else is doing this. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to say to you today, and for the next 2 months, would be, number one is do your own research. Okay, don't jump onto things because your friend told you, or because Johnny said on Facebook that you can buy this, it will be a good idea, because that's a recipe for disaster. Okay, because I will show you later. We go into a little bit more detail and understanding why and what's the right way and the wrong way to get involved. But this is what I wanted to make sure that you understand this, because at the moment you could pretty much throw a dart at a board with all the cryptos on there, and wherever it landed, you probably make money in the next couple of months. Okay, that is understanding what it is that you are investing in and what the prospects for it are in the near and not so near future is a different job altogether. Okay, so that's the number one thing. So make sure that if you do decide to get involved, you do decide to invest, that you have understood, first of all, what it is. Because at the end of the day, don't buy into anything before you understand what crypto is, what makes it tick, what are the, what's it doing? What difference is it making? What are the things that you can do in crypto that you couldn't do without it? And, or if it's not, what you think is not possible yet, will it be possible in 2, 3, 5 years' time? Because those are the questions we should ask ourselves. Because especially if you become an investor, if you don't understand especially we're talking here about technology, we're talking about early days of a certain technology. If you don't understand the technology itself and you just look at price, you end up either losing money or B, taking your money out way too early. And just look at, Amazon, and I keep repeating this example all the time, okay? You bought Amazon on day one, for a lot of time didn't do much, then it started growing like crazy, and then it came down like crazy. Now, if you were holding those shares, what would you have done? When it went up and then it came down 94%, will you still have those shares in your portfolio? Would you have sold them? And that's the big question, because it's easier to say if you had the shares on day one, now you'll be a millionaire. But the big question is, if you had those shares in your wallet, in your portfolio, and you saw them, going down a cliff, will you still have them now, or would you have sold them? And you would only have them if you understood what they were doing and what difference it would make, what kind of position they would take in today's society. And obviously Amazon is huge in everybody's life now. But if you didn't understand that, you probably would have got out, and now you would be kicking yourself for having sold those shares when they were very low. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is, and talking about this is don't look at price, look at the product. Okay, so the product I'm talking, in this case, obviously we're talking about crypto. So we are talking about, you buying a token will be equivalent of a share in a company on the stock market. So if you were to buy shares of a company on the stock market, what would you look at? So you look at the fundamentals. Okay, now the fundamentals in crypto are slightly different from the fundamentals that you look at in a shares in a company, but still there are certain items that you should concentrate on. And what's important to understand is that behind every project there is a team that's working, developers and people. Depending, the bigger the project, the more experts there are on different aspects. But there is a team that is working to bring that product to market, and this work goes on whatever the price is doing. So do you think everybody's talking now of Cardano, of Polkadot, of Ethereum? Do you think that people were not working at these projects in 2018 when price crashed down, or last year in 2020 during the pandemic, when everything went down by 80% or more? The people that are working on this project were still working. We're still at their desk, coming to work every day, developing this project. And the reason why some of them are having a lot of value right now is because that work is coming to fruition. Okay, the products have come to market, and they are doing what they promised they would do. And so that's why a lot of people are jumping on board. And because we're social animals, we're more comfortable buying Bitcoin at 60,000 plus than we were comfortable buying it when it was at 30,000, just to give an example that everybody knows. Okay, the same thing when you are talking about tokens that are built like layer 2s, like smaller projects, it's even more like that. People feel happy to jump on the bandwagon of something that's grown 200% in 3 days, rather than buy when it's at a low price and doing nothing. Okay, and that brings me to my third point, which is, what's the time to get involved with the crypto? Okay, and every day, you look at, if you have signed up to a few pages, to a few websites, you probably get emails in your inbox saying, look at this coin that's grown 300%, or that one that's grown 700% in 3 days, and so on. Now, do you think that's a good time to buy or not? That's a big question. That's a big question, because at the end of the day, you have your money in your wallet, and you have to decide when to pull the trigger. So when do you do that? When it's, when something is not moving at all, when something is moving a lot, when it's going up, when it's going down. Okay, and this is probably my most important rule, which is generally is after you looked at the products and not at the price, the other thing to get involved is boring is good. Okay, you want to get in the projects when they are boring, when nobody else is looking at them, but you know that they are coming close to have some important release on the market. Okay, and I'll give you an example. And let me share my screen. Sorry, let me just move these. And by the way, if you are not using it, start using Brave as your browser, because apart from anything else, they will pay you for using it instead of Google raking all the money for you using Chrome. Okay, anybody's heard about Lookfree? Is in all charts probably the token that has grown most dramatically over recently. And yeah, it's fantastic. It's gone from 42 cents to almost $4. I think the top. If I look at, let's look. It's on Binance, by the way. Okay, so it's not one of those tokens that are difficult to find or to trade. The top on Binance was $3.85. Okay, so in how long? So we was at the beginning of November. So 11 days. Okay, from 37 cents to $3.85. Okay, so almost at 10 times in just over a week. But that's the other question. Okay, look at the rest of it. Okay, we look at now that it's grown so much and everybody wants to jump in, everybody wants a piece of Lookfree. But look at the chart. Okay, and I'm making a small chart to put a big time frame on it. So how long did you have to buy this thing? Okay, you could have bought it. I mean, I bought this. This is in my model portfolio that I bought beginning of January to show everybody what would be possible in crypto. Doing it now, not doing it in kind of like 2015 or something like that. When nobody knew about crypto. Okay, beginning of January, the price was a high of 18 cents. Okay, so you could have bought it in 1st of January for 18 cents. And now, I mean, at the moment it's $3.18. It went up as much as $3.85. So we're looking at a 2,000% gain, okay, on this investment. But at the same time, for those of you that work with me, you know that since you started working with me, we started doing this crypto room and working together in May. Lookfree has been in the portfolio. So whether you invested in it or not, it was there. It was there in the products they are recommended, and it wasn't recommended because of price, obviously, because the price hasn't been doing much. Yes, it had grown kind of like doubled in price, over the past 6-7 months, but that is nothing in crypto terms. But simply because of what they were doing, the technology behind it, and this is just a little bit of research which brings you to understand why everybody's looking at this, and this is the narrative. And sorry, the other thing that I wanted to say, when deciding where to go, where to invest in, look at whatever the flow is. Roger talks about flow. We're talking about there is such a thing as investment flow as well. So the investment flow in 2021, a big talking point has been Ethereum. Okay, Ethereum and the cost of trading on the platform, of actually interacting with Ethereum, doing anything whatsoever. And now, at the moment, gas fees on Ethereum are just ridiculous. So to do anything costs, hundreds of dollars. Lookfree is part of what they call the scaling technology of Ethereum, and is one of the first example of probably the most exciting technology in layer 2 solutions for Ethereum. That's called zero knowledge rollups, or ZK you must see as ZK rollups for short. And as now they are come to deploy their product on the mainnet, we're seeing all this interest, and now the product booming on the market because everybody wants to operate on Ethereum, but they don't want to pay the high fees. Now there is a very good way of doing it, and very safe, because there's a big difference between the different scaling solutions. So between optimistic rollups and ZK rollups, there is a big difference. And ZK rollups would be the kind of the favorable solution, but being more complicated, more difficult to to bring to market. So the optimistic rollups have come out first, and now now the ZK rollups are starting to come out on the market. Okay, so this is the vision, and this is the narrative that personally I have invested in. I've invested in price because something is booming and is doing a lot. I'm invested in technology because I know that this technology will eventually bring the money in. Okay, so concentrate on the product, don't concentrate on the price. And again, I'll just go there. I just bring Binance simply because everybody has a Binance account, and sometimes when new tokens appear on Binance, they get a boost in price. Now this has been on Binance all along. It's not a new token. Sometimes you see this kind of activity happen when something is released on Coinbase or is listed on Coinbase or Binance. Now this has been in Binance from before the start of the year. Okay, so it's nothing. There is no reason for it to jump. This kind of from outside. It's just inside activity. Okay, because of what they are doing and what they are producing. Okay, so interesting projects. Two, on things that already have a high flow. So Ethereum has a very high flow. Anything that brings an improvement to the Ethereum world, especially now at the moment in terms of fee, will have a lot of interest. Okay, and at the same time, within the same narrative, we can include all the alternative chains, alternative blockchains that have come to prominence because of the problems with Ethereum. So we got the Binance Smart Chain there. We got Solana. We got Avalanche. We got Phantom. We got Harmony One. These are all blockchains that come within the same narrative. Okay, because Ethereum has the network effect, has the biggest community around it. Okay, so but it is impossible for the small guy to get involved in Ethereum, because anything you need to do on there, it really requires you to spend a lot of money. So anything that brings Ethereum to the masses will have obviously a high take-up. And this is, again, has been the success of Polygon, for example, earlier on in the year as well. And why everybody is now, talking about Solana, about Avalanche. It simply is the same discussion point. So it's cheap and it's fast. Those are the two things that people are looking at. So if you can find something that is cheap, it's fast, and it's on Ethereum, and is an extra selling point for the product, because at the end of the day, if anybody could choose, all the big community that's around Ethereum wants to do things on Ethereum because it is the safest option. Okay, and so the three things that we remember is that do your own research. So find out about it. Even if you can get tips by people, and this is fine, whether it's me or whether it's anybody else. If anybody tells you, look, that is a good project to look at, then go out and have a look and see what you can understand the project yourself, and not just looking on their website, because sometimes their website and the white paper is nothing else than a wish list about the things that they're going to do. But have a look at the development, have a look at the team, have a look at the social media. How many people are talking about it, how much development, how many look at the time frame, when they said that they would do things, have they done the things they would say they would do, how far are they in the roadmap, and so on. So look at all these items and then make up your mind. Don't just go by somebody's recommendation. Two, look at the actual products themselves, what they're trying to deliver, and is will it make a difference? How much competition do they have? Who else is in the same arena that's doing the same thing? And sometimes competition is good. It's not necessarily bad. You don't have to be the only project that does a certain things, because if there is competition already, it means that there is already an audience as well. So competition can be good as well. And third, look at the chart and try to get involved in a project when it's boring, when nothing else is happening, or if it's a new project that has just released, you want to wait until the ICO when it settles down, because let's say I'll give you an example. If this was a new product just come out to market, you might see a similar thing, and then the price will actually come down and settle somewhere. Okay, that's the time. Once it started going sideways and not much is happening, that's the time to get involved. You don't want to try and catch a moving to jump on a moving train, because that's a recipe for disaster. Okay. So and the other thing is, although sometimes ICOs, IDOs, or the new products that come out can be good, it's very difficult to value them. Okay, because you are going by, it's not like a company that's got some fundamentals that you look at, but it's you really, in a way, buying a product for what the founders are valued at. And so before they actually come to market, it's very difficult to value how much a product is really worth. It's only the market with its activity after a few days of a product having launched, we actually tell you what the market thinks about that product. Okay, so it's always, I personally see as the safest option, unless it's a product that you really believe in, that is doing very well because it's got a ton of community behind it that are supporting it. Is the safer option is to wait until it has launched and then jump on it when all the hype has calmed down and it's starting to found a floor and it's starting to go sideways. Okay, I've already spoken for about half an hour, so I'm not going to read a lot of news now this week. Just a couple of things I thought I'd pick out. This one, and this is probably how we are going. This is one of the first countries to announce something like this. So Austria plans to tax cryptos like stocks and treating them in the same way from the point of view of taxation, which is fair enough. And I think a lot of countries will move to a similar to a similar taxation treatment. This is until we get into the conversation of is crypto are cryptos a currency, the cryptocurrency, or are they assets? And as we know, El Salvador took a different view, and other countries might take a different view, considering them as currency rather than assets. This is something to be seen. Now, okay, from that point of view, and a little bit of scary news as well, because something is now really possible, and this is the real reason why a lot of people are moving into crypto. Now, these are Nigerian banks that are tracking customer accounts for crypto trading. Okay, so this is the central bank. They instructed the banks to look into everybody individual's account. Now, your bank account should be sacred, okay, and your information in there should be sacred, should be private to you, between you and the bank. And now, I mean, I don't know about you, but since when we got into a world where the authorities must know absolutely everything about you, every single transaction that you make, and this is, unfortunately, with the traditional banking system, we are really quickly moving into a world where this is becoming almost like the accepted norm. And the same way, with the same world where we all accepted that Google can read all your emails, or the Apple is scanning all your photographs and using the information they gain from there to their advantage. I mean, I'm saying, for one, that this is not okay. I am not okay with this. Personally, I pay my taxes and I report whatever I need to report, but I don't want somebody looking at my wallet and knowing exactly what I do with my with my money and having to justify every single transaction, to the point where now where I got some of the banks that I hold accounts with are telling me what I can and cannot do. They're calling me out and saying, what is that transactions that you made? Really? And this is, I'm not just scaring you, but I'm saying this is happening right now. I have a bank account in Italy, and I had my bank calling me because they're saying they are transfer some money into a crypto account. And you know, after I told them, look, I'm sorry, but this is none of your business, they eventually backed off. But what gives them the right to telling me, because they're already asking for proof. When in Italy, I mean, this is, you might not be aware of it, but in Italy, when you deposit any money above 1,000 euros in your bank, you have to justify and tell them where it comes from. So already giving them that proof, now that they know that the money is mine and it's all legal and it's all genuine, you know, why should I tell you how I spend it? This is completely down to me. It's my business. But this is becoming the norm. This is becoming the norm in many countries as we move from a cash-based economy to a digital currency economy. Okay, and you know, if you're like me, I hardly ever carry any cash with me anymore because you pay for everything on a card. Okay, on the more technical news, Bitcoin is having this this week should have the Taproot update, which is the first real change in Bitcoin since the SegWit in 2017. So you know, Bitcoin doesn't move very quickly, but with this upgrade, they will get some smart contract capabilities on Bitcoin as well, and it will also should make a difference in the transaction size, because there should be some data aggregation. So basically, it should become cheaper and faster to do transactions on Bitcoin, and there will be some. You might start seeing some Bitcoin apps, actually dApps, so that because there will be a little bit more programmability possible with this update. But don't expect Bitcoin to become like Ethereum, because it's really difficult to get any updates going on Bitcoin, and it's a really slow process. But it is interesting that at least this this is happening. And on a more cheery note, this is why there is so much interest now. 51% of Generation Z and 36% of millennials now prefer cryptocurrencies for salary. So it's become second nature to everybody. Kind of, it's new to my generation, but to somebody that's coming into the world of work now, they kind of expect, and if they have a choice, they would choose to get paid in cryptocurrencies rather than in the national currency. And latest, some of you might have heard about the Miami coin. So it's a way, kind of like a community coin. They've been launched, and because it's done really well, apparently now it looks like the mayor of Miami is actually will actually pay out some Bitcoin to all the holders of Miami coin. So it's a way. This is a way how value can be generated, and this is kind of like a good example of a community cryptocurrency project, and how we could bring it's a new way for communities to raise value, and you know, if you're interested, something like this will be launched. Apparently, it's going to be launched in New York as well. So it's going to be a New York coin as well. But it's all kind of they're all proofs of a new ways of doing things, a new way of raising funds, a new way of providing for your community. Okay, and soon you'll see similar things happening to El Salvador, for example, with some of the benefits of having invested in Bitcoin as a country are now being shared with the citizens. So, okay, I've covered quite a lot of things today, and I've talked a lot, so I've gone past the half-an-hour mark. So let's let me stop sharing and let's start taking some questions. We got anything ready, Duncan? I haven't had time to read the chat as well.
Yeah, there is a question here actually, and it relates. There's a couple of questions, but we'll come to Pierre's in a moment. This one relates to what you were saying about Loop Ring, and it's a question from Eric. Now, I know, and anybody who's a crypto hour old hand knows now that, you know, we are supposed to be looking at the projects behind these coins, and as you just said, it's not about the price. So Eric's question, quite a good one. It's about Ethereum specifically. And, you know, is that in the same situation? Does the Ethereum price depend on the business behind it? Or is that, you know, is that more likely to be affected by other things? Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, it's obviously Ethereum is a protocol, and for everything you do on Ethereum, you have to pay transaction fees. So obviously, the more things go on Ethereum, then the more transaction fees are raised. But the difference is between Bitcoin and Ethereum, for example. Okay, with Bitcoin, the success of Bitcoin is actually the use of the network itself. The success of Ethereum is part of it, the network, and part of it is the project that are built on top of it. So it's not, you know, investment in Ethereum directly, but could be investment in Aave, in Compound, looking in all the projects that are built on Ethereum, because at the end of the day, these projects have to use the network. And some projects use it more. Obviously, if they build directly on Ethereum, they use the project a lot for all the transactions. If they are like Loop Ring or like other layer 2 solutions, what they do is they batch up their transactions and record it onto Ethereum as a batch. So they only pay one transaction fee instead of having to pay, you know, hundreds of transaction fees. But in general, yes, is the success of the applications is the success of Ethereum. Okay, so what else?
Sorry about that, guys. I'm getting distracted on another call there. Tim, there was a question here from Pierre. Do you have any news on the US bill you discussed last week? Any updates there?
No, I haven't. To be honest with you, I'm being really busy this week, so I haven't followed that. But that will go back to the Senate, and then it will be discussed in the Senate. Probably there's going to be some amendments again introduced in the Senate, probably, and then we'll go back to the House and going to carry on with this ping pong for a little while. But whatever is happening there, I mean, it's due to come into effect in 2024. So I think between now and then, what they have kind of like regulated now will change completely in the next 2 years. So I think before now and then there will be a need of having some either a bill that look into the crypto regulation, as a dedicated bill, or there will be some amendments brought to this legislation because it just doesn't make sense, and kind of like it discriminates between users, and it puts like a burden of regulation into many players that will be just pushed away. Either they'll be pushed away, or will be forced to operate into kind of like a gray area, because a lot of the regulators have said, well, I know that the law says that, but we're not going to enforce it already. So, I mean, I don't think it's an ideal situation having a law that just came out, and with the people that are tasked to enforce it saying, look, we're not going to take any notice, doesn't paint a good picture, for how democracy works in the US. Okay.
So, questions. Thank you, Dana. I'm not going to read Dana's question out because I know that she prefers to put them to you herself. Am I right, Dana?
Ooh. That question's actually to you, Duncan, related to finding Luca's club. If you just read
I apologize. I apologize. The one above.
Hi, Luca. I have electricity. We've been having a canal, so I can actually join you today.
Wonderful. I'll drop that link in for you in a moment, Dana. The question that I was referring to is actually from Linda, and I will read it out. But of course, Linda, also, it's not a privilege of Dana's. If you prefer to chat with Luca directly about it, then please just unmute yourself. Linda's interested in how you were originally made aware of Loopring. And there's so many tokens that it's hard to keep up with what's going on. And a common question, please do fill us in where the best place is to get the info. Do you follow people on YouTube? And I know that you read specific publications, so maybe for Linda and the rest of us, we could go over that a little bit again.
Okay, yeah. First of all, this is what I do, Linda. So this is research is my, it's kind of my activity. That's how I find these projects. But if it can help to understand, the process. And first of all, we need to look at what they call a layer 1 protocols. So, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Solana, all these projects are Tron, EOS. They are kind of like layer 1 protocols, okay? So they are blockchains. And then you have a lot of tokens that are built on these blockchains. Okay, so for example, Compound or Aave are Ethereum tokens. They're built on that. World Mobile that we were talking about for Cardano, that's a Cardano token. Okay, that's built on Cardano and so on. Now, first of all, if you will need to do a research on the layer 1 protocols to know, what work is going on behind the lines and understand kind of like which projects are having the most activity. Okay. And once you understand that, then it just focuses your interest, because you can't look at, there are over 10,000 projects. You can't look at all of them. It's impossible. But what you can do is, okay, look at the ecosystems where there is a lot more interest, and then look at the projects in those ecosystems. So, for example, I mean, if you are to look at developers' activity right now, you will see that most of the activity is in Cardano and Polkadot. Okay, so what do? You go and look at Cardano, look at Polkadot, look at the projects that are in those ecosystems, and then which ones are interesting out of those, because you basically, you join a river that's already flowing. So it's a lot easier to put your boat on that river to, and to get some momentum because the river is flowing strongly. If you go into kind of like a new blockchain that's launching tomorrow and there's nobody working it, there's no developers, it's kind of like pushing the boat, on a dry riverbed. So yes, there might be water tomorrow or in 10 years' time, but at the moment there isn't any. Okay, so that's the difference. Find, first of all, the ecosystems that are working. So, there's quite a lot. There's quite a lot at the moment. They're pushing hard. Cardano, Polkadot. You have Solana, you have Phantom, you have Avalanche. There's many ecosystems that are doing very well. And even some of the Polkadot projects having their own ecosystem. Look at maybe Moonriver, for example. Moonriver is doing exceptionally well, and is only something that's launched very recently. Then once you have got those projects, look at what's going on those blockchains. What projects are actually already on it, or they are planning to launch on it. And you can go. Then that's why you need to dive a little bit deeper, maybe looking at their ecosystem, look at social media, look at what people are talking about. Go and, in many of the new projects, especially the ones they haven't launched, it's easier also to speak to, sorry, I guess some feedback. Keith, can make sure that you mute yourself.
Apologies.
So, no, it's all right. So often in the new projects, you can talk to the team, you can talk to the creators of a particular token. So it's easy to speak to them, okay? And once you've done that, it'll be very easy to understand in a particular ecosystem which ones are the products that are more supported. Other directly, like Ethereum is already, obviously, any products is already online, is already on Ethereum. But for new things like Polkadot and Cardano, for example, they haven't been, many of the projects haven't been launched, so they're on a kind of like a pre-launch phase. So that's the kind of work that I do. I first of all try and restrict my focus to a few blockchains they look at, and then start going and look at the projects, in depth. Some of them I say yes, fine, I want to get involved in the project. Some of them I say, well, maybe in the future, not quite yet. Some of them I say, no, I'm sorry, I don't want to have anything to do with that. And that's how you know. It's a slow process, but the more you do it, the more you learn as well. And that's what's valuable. It's your experience is very, very valuable. I don't rely on YouTube channels and things like that, because, you know, to be honest with you, you could spend all day listening at YouTubers and you wouldn't know any better at the end of it, because you can find somebody that says one thing and say somebody else that says exactly the opposite. And if you don't have any experience yourself to use to understand which one is talking rubbish and which one is making sense, then you may as well not listen to anybody at all. So that's my feeling. Nothing can replace the experience of making a little bit of research. And I tell you what, we're not talking about months of research. Obviously, the more you do it, the better it is. But even a little bit can go a long way, you know, because making you understand, you know, the pitfalls, how to set up properly, you know, just little things that can make a big difference. And, you know, John in this call will know a lot about that, wouldn't you, John? So it's it's really important to do things properly and not jump in before you're ready. And by the way, there's plenty of opportunities out there, so don't worry about missing out. Okay, so there's always going to be opportunities. So if you're not ready, just take your time. Don't jump in things that you don't know.
So we have a nice question from Beck, and thank you for your question, Beck. A new face to Crypto Hour. I know you were here last week, so it's nice to see people coming out and asking questions straight away, as it were, or almost straight away. Would you like to have a little chat with us about market capitalization, Luca? Beck asks, she sees a lot of people talking about the market cap of coins when considering if something's worth buying into. Is it something we should be taking into consideration, or should we simply focus on the quality of the individual coin and project?
Now, obviously, market cap is something that should be taken into consideration, but especially to understand, because a lot of people are saying, oh, that coin is cheap, or that coin is expensive, which doesn't mean anything. Honestly, it doesn't mean anything. If you're talking about just the price of a single coin, because you look at a project, let's say 2 projects that are coming on the market, you know, and both projects are, let's say, I've got, let's say, $10 million invested in it. Okay, one project comes on the market and they release 10 coins, and there's only going to be 10 coins ever. You know, no more coins can be made, and the other one, say, the same project, the same $10 million behind it, but they split it between 1 quadrillion coins. Okay, the price is going to be different, obviously, because in the project with 10 coins, every coin is going to be worth $1 million. Okay, the other one is going to be worth fractions of a cent. But the market cap, which is the number of coins in circulation multiplied by the price, and that's the market, is going to be the same. Okay, so how do you compare the 2 projects? You can't just compare the price of a coin. You just have to compare the size of the project itself. Then it doesn't matter how many shares it's divided into. Like I mean, we used to it in stocks and shares investing. You know, well, sometimes when a particular share becomes too big to trade, often they do a split. So they, instead of having, you know, 1 share that's worth $1,000 now, you know, from that date, you're going to have, you know, for each person that holds 1 share, now you're going to have 100 shares worth $10 each. Okay, so it's still the same company, still the same value at the end of the day, but it just split into more or less shares. So call it shares or call it coins in the case of crypto, but it's the same thing. So why it's important to look at the market cap, because you know, you could split a crypto investment into kind of like micro, small cap, medium cap, and large cap. Okay, so now if you think about, let's say Bitcoin, okay, it's worth now over $1 trillion, $1.2 trillion, I think is the latest valuation. As an investment, you know, you invest in something because you hope, at least that the price goes up. Okay, so for Bitcoin to double, in value, it means that the valuation of the market cap needs to go from 1.2 trillion to 2.4 trillion. Okay, which is possible and probably will happen anyway, but it requires a lot of capital to move from the traditional systems to crypto. If you look at a microcap company, for example, that's worth, say, the market cap is maybe $10 million. For the same movement to happen, you will only need to go from 10 million to 20 million. So potential for growth in a small to medium cap project, it's a lot higher, but at the same time, it's a lot riskier because these are kind of like early stage projects that could not succeed for a variety of reasons, not necessarily because there's something dodgy going on at the back in the project itself, but simply because maybe the main people that were involved argue between themselves and the team dismantles, or they don't quite manage to achieve what they were set out to achieve, and so on. So there may be a variety of reasons why they don't do well. Okay, but it's a lot easier for a project of maybe even 100 million to go to $1 billion than it is from Bitcoin to go from 1 trillion to 10 trillion. Okay, you see where I'm driving at. So it's finding that sweet spot where the projects are already proven themselves. So they're not really, because it's very difficult to go into a project that's worth maybe 1 million or something like that and bet on those, because 90% of those will just disappear within a couple of years. But if you go to projects that already have launched, they already have proven themselves up to a point, and they got good prospects of growth, then there is really a good opportunity to jump on a project that then will do that kind of like change and move into a mid-size, a large-size project. Like I was showing you before with Loopring. That's the real possibility you have in crypto. Okay, moving from small to medium cap to being more accepted. And just as another example, there were only a few projects at the start of the year at the market cap of $1 billion or more. Okay, and look at it now. We're going well over number 100 in the market cap rank. They have got a market cap of above $1 billion. So it's not that difficult to think that a project that's worth maybe 200 or 300 million now will be $1 billion in a few months' time in market cap, because it only just needs a little bit of hype, a little bit of a product being released to make them make that jump. Okay. Okay. What's next, Duncan?
Are you ready for to get your crystal ball out? We've got a nice question from John Bellamy. 3 asterisks, not financial advice. 3 asterisks. Where do you see Cardano heading to? Maybe you'd like to just update us on your overall general belief in Cardano and the projects within the ecosystem.
Okay, Cardano in the future will be running big parts of many countries, and there will be some countries completely deploying on Cardano, pretty much having their administration, their digital currency, and everything that's working on Cardano. So I see it as that big. I see where Bitcoin is today. I see Cardano easily getting to that point. I mean, I don't know time-wise, it might take 2, 3, 4 years. It doesn't matter, but I see Cardano to get to $1 trillion plus. So it's not a project. Even if we hit let's say a crypto winter, is one of the tokens that will keep in my portfolio. Okay. I'm looking. I know that it's a long way down the line, but I'm not giving you numbers. But Jeff, if you do a little exercise, put 1 trillion and divide it by the maximum numbers of tokens that will ever be in circulation in Cardano, you get the price that I'm thinking of. Okay.
I know we spoke a little bit about it, but Eric was asking specifically for just a couple of websites where he can do some research. So obviously I've said that CoinGecko is usually one of your favorites. Would you like to just add a couple more for us?
Yeah, CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap, they're basically just data aggregators, or Messari. Messari is really good as well. You can do a lot of research there, but you know, is also paid all the good research is you have to pay for. But yeah, that's a good way to start. I mean, easily to do basic research on a project, you can use CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap, because it also leads you to social media. So it will have links to Reddit and Discord and other places where the projects are being discussed. Okay, so you can do your social media research as well, starting.
Wonderful. Oh, heck, another question saving my life at the last minute. Thank you. Is there anywhere we can go to review ecosystem-specific projects? Yeah. So in the past, Luca, you've shown us various graphics of, for example, all of the projects that are on the Cardano ecosystem. And then I think we were looking at Polkadot, weren't we? So yeah, where would we find specific information like that?
Well, generally, Discord is one of the best places. You know, there's lots of different communities out there. But Discord and Twitter, if you start following a few people on those things, and then specific. If you're looking at specific projects, you want to go a little bit deeper in it. Cardano has a community fund. And it's this kind of, there are town hall meetings every week, and there are meetings to discuss the new projects they are applying for funding. So you can, those are public meetings that you can take part on if you want to, because the way it works from Cardano is that every month they have this community fund. Anybody can present a project that wants to use part of those funds, and then you know, the whole community of Cardano holders has a vote and votes on the projects they would like to support, and the ones that receive more support in the end get funded. And that's how a lot of the projects, they are just about to, all the apps, they're just about to be released on Cardano. That's how many of those projects started. They're being funded by the community. So that's why at the end of the day, you know, I'm so bullish about Cardano, because they have a really active community. And it's really very, very engaged, because some of those projects, you know, you are emotionally involved because you are supported with your vote, even if it didn't cost you anything. But you have seen them grow from nothing. You know, you have supported it, and the community has let them grow. So what are you going to do once they release their tokens? You know, are you just ignoring it, or you saying, look, I was one of those that supported this project, you know, when they, you know, when there was just a developer that came up with the idea, and now I hold that token. Obviously, you have an emotional involvement in it. So that's very powerful. That's very, very powerful. And the community, by the way, the community that takes part in voting it keeps growing every month. The last numbers I saw were over 250,000 strong community. There were over 800 projects being presented, so it's a big thing. It's not a small community. And you know, if they can use that to run elections, basically, for Cardano, many small countries could actually be running their elections on the blockchain as well. Okay. Any more?
We don't have any more questions.
Wow.
As it seems, we've got a couple of minutes left. I have actually got to leave bang on the hour. But if anybody in the room would like to unmute themselves, we do still have a couple of minutes left if you've got any burning questions or points to make. Otherwise, I'm sure Luca will have a quality outro for us. Anybody?
Luca, good morning.
Yep.
Just following up on what you said about Cardano and the community. How do you engage with that? Do they have a website, or how do you find them?
Cardano, yeah, Cardano.org.
Thank you.
Very easy. That's the thing. And they got the Catalyst. The Catalyst project is the one that was talking about the funding the community projects. So you can find the details there on Catalyst as well.
Lovely. Thanks. Thank you.
Also, Luca, on Crypto Compare, should we put in transactions between exchanges?
I mean, Crypto Compare is just really to keep an eye on your investments. So as long as you put the entry price for the tokens that you bought and the amount of tokens that you bought, that will keep an eye on your investment. It doesn't really matter if you have them on Kraken or Binance or KuCoin or any other website. As long as you put your entry price on there and the number of tokens. Okay.
Okay, I think we're all done with questions. Just wanted to say, if you joined after the start, I did apologise for not sending out the email from Luca as I promised last week, but I've been a little bit ill this week. And just to repeat myself, Luca and I are meeting very shortly. We've got something even better for you. So I will be emailing you in the early part of next week, I promise.
Okay, fantastic. And I mean, if anybody wants to have a chat with me, let me just get my Calendly link so you can.
Yes, and absolutely, for anybody who's new to Crypto Hour, I'm also just going to drop into the chat as well Luca's crypto investor community on Genius U. So please do come across, join the circle, stay abreast of the updates. You can find information in the library. You can also recap on the calls because they're live streamed in the circle. But most of all, we'd just like to get you into the community, into the family. So there's the link underneath Luca's Calendly link.
So I have made some space on each Friday, after this call, if anybody wants to talk to me. My time is very limited, so that's the one time that I've got available. Don't ask me any other time.
and usually very expensive as well, yeah.
Quite, yeah. You could say that.
Reasonably, reasonably.
Really.
Not too expensive. We'll let you know all about that in our email.
Okay.
All right. So if there's no more for any more, last few words from you, Luca, and I think we can wrap it up, can't we?
Yeah, last few words are just saying, if you want to see the recording, we always store the recordings on the Genius U Crypto Investor Circle. So you can go on there and go to the library section, and there will be on there. And I'm always there. If you have a question, then you can drop a question there in the circle, and I will answer it sometime. So feel free to come up and just say hello as well. Introduce yourself there in the circle, and let's start a conversation.
Wonderful. Okay. Thank you for your time, everybody, and as ever, especially thank you to Luca for his valuable time.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Goodbye, everyone. Have a great weekend. Bye.
See you guys. Bye-bye.